Really, Kuya? Really? Where, are we that dense? I was wondering why he was so comfortable with her at that some point, and I'm like, really? Are we gonna do that? But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 15 of Aquatope on White Sand. We're definitely seeing Kukuru getting much more comfortable with a lot of the characters in the Tangara aquarium, and that's definitely a positive thing. We're starting to see more positive movement happening, but yeah, it's my thoughts. Let's jump into it. So yeah, the episode opens up. Kukuru is very upset because she has to make reports on pretty much everything that she does. Again, welcome to business, or more corporate business, Kukuru. She finds out that she has to do a new presentation, or at least think up an idea for a new presentation. She ends up deciding that she wants to do an exhibit on slugs. Namely, she was kind of pointing out a lot of more dangerous fish, and it ended up coming to slugs because she feels that they're like really, really beautiful, very colorful creatures. And so she ends up going out and finding a whole bunch of slugs to bring in. She kind of enlists the help of Kai, which we're kind of starting to see a lot more of Kai going on the offense in order to build some relationship with her. Obviously, unfortunately for him, she ends up inviting Fuka as well, so Fuka has to be involved with it. And the entire time, Eiji's talking about this idea of them working on this courtship. Again, Eiji and his equating everything to fishes. But obviously the problem that Kukuru ends up running into when she's trying to make this exhibit is that she can't seem to get the slugs to be comfortable and eat the moss that she's actually bringing them. And so she's having a lot of difficulty creating that safe environment while they're talking about, well, just put them out in the exhibit and let them not eat. It's not a big deal. She's actually looking out for the better of the slugs themselves, so she doesn't really want to let them sit there and starve. She finds it cruel, which is an interesting kind of turn of conversation as we kind of get a little more glimpse into how Kaoru sees things and how Kaoru respects the animals versus how Kukuru does. Whereas, again, we've already mentioned Kukuru is always looking out for the well-being of the fish themselves. She really wants to take care of them. She puts them above everything else. Whereas Kaoru is like, you know what an aquarium is, right? It's where you're taking these fish and you're, capturing them and putting them in cages, basically. Why would you see that that is not cruel, yet you're upset about them not eating things? And it seems like Kaoru's perspective is that she thinks aquariums are great because it's a way of protecting the world itself. Like, if they can create knowledge and inform people, it's for the betterment of the world itself. But it was cool because the conversation between the two of them ends up bringing them together, basically. They both kind of see each other and respect how they see how things should be. And so, again, creating that connection that we're finally getting between Kukuru and some of the other members of this particular aquarium. Unfortunately, while she's doing all this stuff, she ends up forgetting that she has her behind-the-scenes stuff that she's supposed to do, and so leave it to Chiyu to have to actually take care of the escorting of the visitors, which upsets her, obviously. Had this funny little conversation between Chiyu and Kaoru later on, talking about how, like, the Gamagamas are just so terrible, and I can't believe that she'd actually forget this whole thing. She's like, well, what about your other Gamagama? I like how the last episode we had them talking about them being like this faction that Gamagama is taking over. Now they're just referring to them as those Gamagama. So this Gamagama is terrible. What about your other Gamagama? Well, that girl, she's okay. What about your two Gamagamas? Well, one's weird. Yeah, they're weird. Now, this is where we get in the whole thing with Kuya. It was weird because at some point we had Kuya and he was cutting up something, and Akari just comes running in and starts talking to him, getting really close to him, and the entire time I'm going, here we go, his fear of the girls is coming back. And then Kaoru comes in and kind of gives her answer, and she leaves, and he comes up and puts his arm on Kaoru's shoulder and says, thanks, I appreciate it, I can't deal with her. And I'm like, wait, why is he okay with her? Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's kind of similar to Kukuru. Maybe he's finally gotten a little bit comfortable with her. No, he literally thought Kaoru was a guy. So later on, when he's like, you're a food dude, and Umion's like, that's not a dude. It's like, really, dude? We're really doing this? Okay, whatever. Yeah, again, we also had another scene with Kai coming to Kukuru and offering his help to her. Again, really hitting on this idea of him wanting to be there for her and assist her with any way that he can. I'm curious if that'll come into play later on, where maybe Kai starts to put her before a lot of his duties, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I think it's just really him just trying to be more in her help. Of course, the way that she thinks that he can help her is by letting her blow off steam by punching his hands, and he grabs her hand at some point and have a little moment of like, wait, what are you doing, kind of thing. So cute. I'm happy to see that kind of blossoming. Obviously, I know a lot of people are kind of hitting on the idea of this show being a Yuri bait show, but I think it's really just kind of hitting heavy on Fuka and Kukuru just being really close friends. Obviously, I think this having Kai be more in the relationship is probably going to be the thing they'll go with. Actually, I think it probably is going to end with the series not really having any kind of relationship actually blossom fully, but we'll see. Yeah, and then we end off the episode with, Kukuru's boss kind of yelling at her about not putting this one slug in the exhibit, calling her plankton again still. I still get a kick out of that. But yeah, she's pretty much determined, like, no, look, it can't go on exhibit yet. It's not eating what it needs to eat. I'm not putting it out there. And he's yelling at her. So she's standing firm on what she believes, that the slugs need to be fed and comfortable before they be put out, which again kind of follows up with Kaoru offering a possible location that Kukuru can go to in order to get some other moss for the slugs, which was great as well. Like I said, creating those bonds that Kukuru is obviously starting to form finally. And yeah, Kai trying to show off the slug that she put in the back again. That whole aspect of the courting. Solid episode overall. Like I said, I think what was so great about this episode, you're finally seeing Kukuru get comfortable. Again, she was a little bit upset, but then having Fuka come in and say, hey, look, this is a great way for you to show people what you love. Kukuru accepting that, getting into it, really getting involved with a lot of the groups, pushing what she wants to have done, being very passionate about it, and finding success in it. And that's the great thing about it. And forming bonds with a lot of the people in the actual aquarium besides just the people of Gama Gama. So definitely a good step forward for Kukuru for sure. But yeah, solid episode. Really enjoyed it. That's my thoughts on episode 15 of Aquatope on White Sand. Definitely interested to see where it goes from here. I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment and let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And if you can, go in the description. There's a tip button where you can support us directly. And y'all take care.